I wish that I could say my adventure started here, but in reality, it started nearly a week earlier, over 100 miles away, in a place as little like the National Forest as it could be. I set off from Denver with the goal of riding the 25 miles through town and on paths to reach the first segments of the Colorado Trail. And considering it was my first bikepacking trip, it isn't all that surprising that things did not exactly go to plan.
All right, quick snack and water break. I'm really grateful I found this bathroom because even though the water fountains outside are still turned off, that's a pretty common thing where it gets cold in the winter, which I did not know before moving Colorado. There is running water on the inside, so I'm gonna drink as much of this as I possibly can to try to kind of load up on water. I did bring my water filter, and because I don't know if that's like super potable inside, potable, I never say it properly. But the ironic thing about this trail is the further downriver I get towards the canyon that I'm going to be ending up at the back of tonight, the harder it is to get water, even though I'm next to it. It's like a super steep ravine and just not safe to go down there. So because I don't know what the water situation is going to be like tonight, I'm going to make sure to pack extra, more than I think I need, to get me through the rest of today, tonight, and tomorrow morning before I can get back to clean water, which probably won't happen until mid-morning at the least. All right, and something I actually still need to figure out is where I'm going to be camping tonight. It really has just depended on the weather. I've been on the Colorado Trail before, which, spoiler, we're gonna be on segment 1 of the Colorado Trail tonight, but I've never done it in this weather, or the weather that's upcoming, or on a bike. And so I've been a little bit concerned about actually choosing a campsite before I get up there and have the ability to assess the situation. And I'm sure a lot has changed since 2021, but even day to day, weather out here is so variable that it can be difficult to plan and prepare properly for a trip like this without a little help, which is why I want to go ahead and take a moment to thank the partner of today's video, Go's Health, who I used leading up to this trip and I'm going to actively use while on this trip offline to make sure that I stay safe out there. I'm going to go ahead and overlay an example of the app here because my screen is obviously difficult to see in this condition. Go's is an essential wilderness medicine and emergency guide that helps you prepare, plan, and respond to potential emergencies or dangerous situations in the outdoors. Their guides were created in partnership with wilderness medicine doctors, which was really important to me when choosing to use and obviously share this app with you all, because I think having information can be really important and helpful as long as it's the right information and so long as it's not promoting dangerous behavior. But I'm happy to say that after using this app for over a month and a half now, I have loved all of the recommendations, advice, and especially the preventative measures that they suggest you take, as well as the skills that they promote that you learn before actually getting out on trail to prevent emergencies and bad situations before they happen. Now, obviously, there's no guarantee that things are always going to go as planned, and so in that case, Go's Health also has an emergency response section, which allows you to respond to a suite of questions to assess your condition and to help you evacuate if you need to. They've recently released a sort of gamification component to their app as well, allowing you to test your knowledge and your skills and earn tokens to use in exchange for discounts at partner outdoor brands. So if you guys want to check out Go's Health, I cannot recommend it enough. The app itself is free, although there are like exclusive benefits that you can sign up for, like a premium membership. You can check out both options down in the description down below. And again, I'd highly recommend that you guys at least check it out no matter what sort of outdoor activity you guys get into. It's helpful to learn, to prepare, and to respond if you need to. But let's hope we don't get there. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and fill my water bottle up, pack up camp. The sun is still shining and I wanna take advantage of this good weather. So I'll see you guys back out on the bike.
My motivation for cycling instead of driving to the trailhead is a part of my recent effort to use more public access trails and services to prove to myself and hopefully others that access to the outdoors is closer than we all think. Well, that, and my car happened to break down right before I went to make this video.
Cycling out here past all of the recycling facilities and landfills definitely leaves something to be desired. I am very excited to get out of here and into the mountains. Can you just tell how windy it is?
have a general rule in the outdoors along the lines of, when 3 things go wrong, maybe reconsider. And between the impending snowstorm, the 40-mile-an-hour headwinds, and ultimately a closed trail, I turned around and went home, making this first failed trip a 52-mile loop that ended back at my house with plans to try again another day. Well, I'm about 6 miles in and 1 hour in, which is a lot slower than I thought that I was going to be going. But first trip, a lot more hiking than I anticipated. All in, a really nice day. I was a little worried at first because it started to snow when I was leaving the car, but the weather actually did pan out for us today. That said, I was thinking that I was going to ride like 20 miles, and I could. I still have 3.5 hours until dark. But realistically, I'm gonna have to do all this riding again tomorrow. And a lot of the riding today that hasn't been hike a bike uphill has been straight downhill, which means tomorrow I'm gonna have a hell of a climb back out. And I don't think I'm in good enough shape to pull 20 miles tomorrow. I mean, I could if I had to, but do I want to? So I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it for today. Well, almost call it. Just stopped and got some water here, and I think that there's a campsite right up this hill. So I'm gonna go check that out, hopefully find a place to make camp and relax before the sun actually fully goes down, because knowing myself, as soon as it does, I'm gonna be asleep anyways. So I wanna make sure I have time to set up my tent, make dinner, get warm, get comfortable, and get sheltered for the night, because it does look like there could be some storms moving in. Okay, this is like such a luxury, and I'm being a baby, but I'm really sad I forgot my pillow. Most people don't bring one even, but that is like my number one luxury item, and I left it at home. While this cooks, I've been trying to think if I have any like pieces of wisdom or lessons learned or anything else, and I don't think that 6 miles is enough to come up with anything revolutionary, but I will say that I'm extremely glad that I came back out even after last week's failure. The weather is still not perfect, but it's much better than it was. Coming back and accessing the trail from where I did obviously brought me a lot higher up, which is partially why I'm so cold, but it also means that I have seen one person all day, and that was really close to the trailhead, and they're just like a day hiker. It is absolutely silent out here, other than my gabbing. I am completely alone, and just remembering how much time outside like this means to me. It got so cold last night, I think it was like 27 or something, that my other camera died, unfortunately. So I'm grateful that I brought the GoPro, but it's definitely not the same quality, and I apologize for that. But this morning really makes up for it. It is so peaceful, so quiet. There is just a hint of a breeze, and the sun is out, and the birds are chirping. And it's really mornings like these why I love being out here, especially when I get to go slow. I'm not in a rush. So I'm especially grateful to myself for not pushing and continuing on to do another 10 miles yesterday, because this is all that I needed. Right, back on the bike, and I honestly thought I was going to feel a lot worse this morning. I ran quite far the other day because I'm training for a running race up here, and yesterday's ride really took it out of me, so pretty stoked, and dang, it is a beautiful day. Heading back towards the trailhead was such a different experience than my ride the day before. This time, I was facing the mountains and was treated to 180-degree views of the Rockies all morning. With the exception of my lack of fitness and gear bags that I'm still working out how to secure, it was the perfect downhill morning. Done. That last section was so much fun. All right, lessons learned. I need to adjust my bags. I need some better straps, because having to stop what felt like every 10 minutes, especially on some of those rocky descents, really sucked. I almost fell twice because of it as well, which definitely want to avoid. And I think that could be solved with just like 2 $7 or $8 belay straps. Having just one on there was just not ideal. If I'm going to be riding this rocky of terrain, I need things to be really secured. And on that note, I want to do the same thing for my tent. Although I do feel like the Velcro Velcro and I finally started to get along. It definitely could have been a little bit more secure, and I think jostling as much as it was over time is eventually going to start to wear on my shifter and brake cables, and I don't want a mechanical out here because I was simply too cheap to buy, again, a couple of $10 straps. On the topic of bags, my super cute cow bag is awesome, but I've been nervous to cut the straps to length. Even though they are longer than they should be, I just haven't figured out a way to adjust them properly, which means that I have a couple of really nice cuts on the inside of my leg. Again, from the descents, going a little faster, things are moving around. It's just not as secured as it could be, and it ended up actually cutting me. It's not that big of a deal on a one-day trip, but over a long period of time, that could really start to suck. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Don't forget your charging cords. I really wish that I would have had my nice camera with me on this second half, because there were so many beautiful views coming back this way that I missed yesterday just because my back was to them. So that was a bummer. And if I would have been on any longer than a one-night trip, I had a battery pack, but I forgot my phone charging cable in the car. So just doing a better check to make sure that I have everything before I hit the trail. The only other thing that I think I forgot was my pillow, but my bike shorts wrapped around some other clothes actually made for a really nice pillow, so that ended up not being as big of an issue as I thought. All right, on to the pros. I am so psyched that I just had the descent that I did. I don't know how much of it was actually captured because I couldn't really check the angle of the GoPro, so hopefully you guys saw that, but I was whooping and hollering the whole way down, and I think that's really what I needed to end my trip on, because yesterday, hike biking up some of those rock gardens took what felt like forever. I mean, my ride was still only an hour yesterday, but it just really kind of stunk. And getting to come back down that today, aside from the bag securing issues, was such a nice reward for a pretty hard first trip. On that note, hard first trip, but I feel like I really timed my food and my water well. I had enough water. I camped near water. I didn't ever feel like I was gonna run out. I was not nervous about food. I have basically just one half day left of food if I needed it. And that all felt really good, which I'm gonna attribute to all of my years backpacking. I feel like I finally have that down pat, which is awesome. Anything else? Honestly, yesterday I started in a really weird place. I was pretty exhausted and not that excited about the trip, which is a bummer because holy heck, I'm so grateful to be able to do this stuff. But this trip, as short and sweet as it was just such a great reminder that all it takes for me, at least, is getting outside to really change my mindset. When I started this trip yesterday, like I said, I was just having an off day. I was kind of sad, kind of down in the dumps, and I didn't really want to be out here. And I think having such a hard afternoon, all that hike biking, it was hot, and I was just a little bit nervous, did not make me feel that much better. But getting a full night's sleep out in the woods, even though my sleeping pad deflated, I forgot about it. That's how good of a day that I'm having right now. And it just goes to show that all it takes sometimes is a little fresh air to shift your perspective. So I'll leave it at that. If you guys haven't seen, I did post a video going over all of my gear last week. So if you're interested in what I actually packed, I'm not going to cover that in these adventure videos, because unless I'm changing something dramatically, I'm not here to promote and hot gear. In the meantime, this was a wild ride from a 52-mile out and back in the city to being up at 10,000 feet and spending a night alone in the woods. I feel like I got a taste of everything that Colorado has to offer, at least in this section, and I'm really excited to get out on more trips in the near future. Thank you guys all so much for being here. Thank you to Goes Health for partnering on this video. I will see you all next time. Bye. I hope that looked as cool as it felt.